I live in a small town community surrounded by the woods. The houses were pretty far away from each other, as it would take 15 minutes to get from each house to house. Anyways, the story starts off with a few strange events. Our family's pet puppy, Allie, went missing. Some gardening tools were taken, as well as some food that was left outside. I eventually found the reason for all these things disappearing. One day, I looked out the window and saw a man in a black hood taking a sack of grains from our garden shed outside. I ran out the door and yelled at the man, but he just ran into the woods with the huge sack. I didn't bother to report this incident, as there wasn't much to go on. I eventually saw the man again in the brush and decided that it was a good idea to tail him into the woods. I followed him through the thick brush. He led me deeper into the woods and into an abandoned building. I entered when I made sure that he wouldn't spot me. When I got in, there was barely any light. It was completely dark. I walked around until I suddenly stumbled into something. I looked at what I stumbled into and saw a weird object. It looked like a human body, but it wasn't moving. I took a closer look at it, and it was a person, but it was missing his head. Holy crap. I wandered deeper into there and saw a bunch of weapons. Axes attached to string dangling from the ceiling, and sharp metal spikes planted on the floor and walls. It was like a death trap. I suddenly heard a barking noise. I looked around. It was Allie. Allie was locked in a cage across the room. I precisely walked across the floor carefully, not to get hit by anything. I scrambled toward the cage to free Allie. The cage was locked. Damn. Thinking quick, I noticed the metal on the cage was old and rusty. I decided to grab a dangling axe and quickly hacked away the cage door. I grabbed Allie and started to walk away. The window was the closest exit. Then, all of a sudden, Allie started barking, followed by some footsteps. Crap, he must have heard us. I quickly ran to the window, jumping over each spike, and then jumping out the window. Allie made it out all right. Couldn't say the same thing about me, though. I didn't notice that there were spikes along the window, and one of them scratched my chest. Fortunately, it was a small cut. I kept running with Allie. We ran into the woods and got lost. It was nighttime by the time we were found by some neighbors. The neighbors took me back home. My parents were glad to have me back. They called the doctor to treat my cuts and reported the incident to the police. The police didn't follow the investigation, but I didn't care. I was glad to make it out alive. We are now more careful of Allie and what we leave outside. That was 5 years ago. I am now 18. I still live in the same house with my parents, and Allie is now a grown dog. As for the building, I have found out disturbing news related to this incident. A man has been reported missing, and the police found him with his arm amputated. He was found near the abandoned building, nearly bleeding out to death. Fortunately, he made it out alive. The police made the building off limits and investigated. They found more decapitated bodies and corpses. They also found an old man covered in a black robe, lying on a bed in an upstairs room. He was dead. The cause of death turned out to be poisoning. However, they couldn't figure out the identity of the man, as well as why he did all this. Much of everything still remains a mystery. I just know that I could have been one of the decapitated bodies, and Allie could have been stuck there for God knows how long. I'm just glad that something like this could never happen again.